A white cop kills an African American and then later is acquitted. This seems to be a trend that is happening in this country. Today I'm going to talk to you about the case of Michael Brelow. Michael Brelow was a cop in Cleveland, and he was charged with manslaughter for two different people about a year ago. Well, today I'm going to go through and talk about the history of the incident, the investigation that followed, and then the trial and the backlash that occurred after that. First, I'm going to talk about the incident. On November 29, 2012, suspects Timothy Russell and Melissa Williams were driving in their car. They drove by a justice center and cops heard gunshots. So they started a pursuit and the couple ran. Well, this was about a 20-mile long chase, and it involved over 100 different officers and 62 patrol cars. And they were firing shots at them the whole time. Well, finally, they got them trapped in a parking lot. Michael Brelow then got out of his car, ran and jumped on the hood of the suspect's car and emptied his 15-round magazine into their windshield. After all was said and done, both the suspects were dead. Well, I'm going to now talk about the investigation that followed after that. Well, after every time a cop uses his weapon, there's an investigation. And what they found out is that 137 shots were fired at the individuals. Michael Brelow shot 49 of those shots. Russell was hit 23 times, and Williams was hit 24 times. They were both had multiple injuries that would have proven fatal. And they both were also under the influence of drugs, which is why they suspected that they ran. Once they searched the car, though, they found that there was no weapon. So what actually happened was, when they were driving by the Justice Center, the car backfired, and which is what they thought was the gunshots. Michael Brelow was indicted for 2 counts of voluntary manslaughter. Next came the trial. In this country, we have a right to trial, and in his trial, no one was accusing him of what he did. They just had to prove that it was his gun and bullets that caused the deaths of these 2 individuals. All the officers were known to have used excessive force in the situation. They brought in many experts, including ballistics experts, forensic experts, and even an engineer. Well, the engineer was brought in to talk about how the car actually backfired, and why that actually does sound like a gunshot. Well, at the end of the trial, the judge, I got a quote from the New York Times, the judge said that the shooting was reasonable and they followed their process because they thought they were endangered. And he also said that there was no possible way to connect Michael Brelow's bullets being the fatal bullets. So they were not allowed to indict him. So he was acquitted of all charges. Well, after that, there was a backlash, both good and bad. Now, lately we've been having a few of these situations where a cop kills an African American and then is acquitted. Well, every time it happens, there's these big riots and protests, and Cleveland was no different. There were many riots, a lot of protests, and I think it was like 102 people were arrested. That was the bad. Now, the good that came out of this was that Cleveland decided to go back into and look at what cops can do and can't do when using force. So they now have more stricter regulations for how they handle these situations. In conclusion, I hope that I gave you a better understanding of the incident that happened and why it was brought to trial, and also why he was acquitted when many people thought that he should be in prison. I want to thank you all for listening, and have a good day.
That was a nice speech, Matt. Was I not supposed to say that?